much more async work and people who are not employees to a company, etc. And chances are also there with the Ethereum Foundation, you've made experiences that are different to like a traditional company. These are the thoughts as with which we would love to go into a talk with you. That makes sense.
Awesome. Thank you for this overview. This gives a pretty good idea, and I'm so happy to be here again by meeting all these potential or maybe existing project managers group looking forward to join the Web3 world. Or I think with Bankless DAO, they are already in the Web3 world. So yeah, I'll be happy to share any specific question if
Cool.
there is
Yeah.
any, or yeah,
I have,
whatever.
maybe we can start with one little overview as to how does project management work for you? My personal understanding is you work for the Ethereum cat herder team, and at least from the like website, etc. My understanding would be that you manage the Ethereum developers. So, question would be, is that correct? And then can you maybe say a little bit about, are you the only project manager? Are there several project manager? And then how is your team built? Just that we understand maybe a little bit how project management looks like for you in your daily life.
Right. So yeah, let me start with giving a little bit of introduction about the Ethereum cat herders. We take pride in calling ourselves to be the manager of Ethereum community, but generally speaking, it is not that the kind of management we do with respect to Ethereum clients. However, this management is more towards the community side. We try to help protocol developers in terms of communication and coordination and try to bring the network upgrade deployed on mainnet smoothly. So our main job is to disseminate information around Ethereum research and development work, educate people on what's coming up on Ethereum blockchain, and maybe interact with the infrastructure provider and developers and have them in a same room to communicate with each other, make decisions on protocols those are going to be on the Ethereum mainnet. So, just to clarify, no, we do not manage any Ethereum developer. We are not here for any specific Ethereum client. However, we are in touch with each and every client, and if and when needed, we communicate with each other in terms of getting on board with respect to any proposal. Say, for example, there is a proposal which is proposed to be included in upcoming upgrade. For example, we have this withdrawal proposal, beacon chain withdrawal proposal that people are proposing should be included in Shanghai upgrade. So now when this proposal is considered for inclusion, that is a particular phase of network upgrade. We do have information available on Ethereum Cat Herders Medium about the network upgrade process. So when a proposal is considered for inclusion, then it is needed to have a coordination between all the clients to make sure they have implemented and tested before that is deployed on the public testnet. So this kind of coordination sometimes we need to do with respect to client teams. And there is a parallel communication going on with the infrastructure provider or the tools provider to make sure they're aware of something is coming up and they can do the respective testing at their own end.
Cool. When you are talking, let's stay, for example, or let me first say, so everyone, whenever you have a question, just jump in. If you don't ask questions, I will, but please feel free. This is a great opportunity. Pooja, you were talking about the Shanghai upgrade, and maybe that helps me to understand a little bit better than how that works. So the process to ultimately bringing the Shanghai upgrade on the chain, is that something that works in waterfall or in agile project management? So do you
It is kind of a combination of both. We can say that because we are pretty flexible here. It's not that if something is proposed, it has to go. There's a lot of back and forth there. I can explain on a high level, like how do we come to a conclusion of a proposal to be included or not to be included in in an upgrade. So Ethereum improvement proposal, that is basically of for three different types, and meta, informational, and standard track. Meta is for bigger section where we change some process. Informational is only for information purposes. Those are not mandate. They don't have to be implemented anywhere. But this is standard track. Most of the EIPs fall under the category of a standard track. And there is under the type of a standard track. And this has four different categories: core, ERC, interface, and networking. So when a proposal is proposed in core category of standard track type, then it is eligible to be included in an upgrade. However, there are certain proposals, they may be added as core, but they may not need an upgrade like on network level, like on all client level at one point of time. That can be done on individual client level with the soft fork, not the hard fork. So let's focus on the core EIPs, which are there for the hard fork. Someone proposes a proposal, we bring it to discussion on all core dev meeting, and in all core dev meeting we have, because now we are on POS, we have both EL and CL developers, client developers. EL has about 5 clients. Similarly, CL also has 5 clients. So we bring all of those people in a room and try to discuss about the benefits that we can get from a proposal. They talk about the trade-offs because sometimes a proposal is good for network but may not be good for a particular set of people. So we do discuss these advantages and disadvantages and take a couple of meetings to decide if this can be included in CFI, consider for inclusion. Even if a proposal is added as CFI, it doesn't mean that it has to be included on the network. Sometimes it takes time and we come up with another better proposal. So that proposal may drop and the better one will move ahead. So it's not like a very free flowing kind of thing
mm,
that it has to go. It can be dropped at any point of time. After CFI, again, it will go to a public testnet and first developers testnet, then public testnet, then mainnet, if nothing has changed in between. But if it does, it can be stopped at any point.
understood. And during all that process, you, as the project manager, you are the person that drives the communication between the involved people, but also the planning process, if I understand correctly. So let's say you decide when it is CFI ready or when it moves to the next stage, and also you plan how long the stage goes and how each stage is sequentially aligned to the next one.
Um, to be fair enough, it's not any individual or a group, but it's altogether the community here. So yes, there are some uh, time period which is considered generally during every phase of moving from one phase to another phase. But among these phases, there is something running in parallel that is called a status. So when a
Mhm.
proposal is proposed, that is basically in the draft status. And when a proposal is in draft status, that means it is very raw, and people are still considering that if it can be going, if it can be like proposed for a network upgrade or not. After a few discussion, it is moved towards review status when they are getting a little confidence that, okay, this is good. There could be slight spec changes. We can expect some changes in specs. And making those changes, it should be good to move ahead. So then it comes to the review status, and then people start considering proposal for inclusion. Before review, it should not be even considered. It's like, okay, fine, it is. You can just apply, but you can't be considered for that. So it generally takes two ACD meetings for any proposal to be accepted for CFI, if that is good enough, right? So this duration is not fixed. If a proposal is very simple, it can be within a week, and sometimes we try to do async communication on all core dev channels to collect consensus from every client, like how they are planning to implement that, and do they think it is worth implementing in the first place if we are running short on time. So when we talk about the practices, there are different stages. I mentioned about draft, I mentioned about review. So review is when people are reviewing it. Then comes last call. Last call is a period which is very strict. A proposal has to be there for at least 14 days. So we generally do not put any proposal in last call unless it has passed the public testnet phase. So if it is like passed on public testnet, that means most likely, I mean 99.9% it has been there. And then we move it to the mainnet. So we move a proposal in this last call for 14 days, and we are very strict about it. It can be 14 plus, but cannot be less than that. And then comes the final. However, this entire period does not have a fixed time frame. It can go as fast as like a month, or it can be over 6 months or so. So we have a few proposals in Shanghai which are there for a very long time, and there are a few proposals which were just proposed a couple of months ago.
Mm. It's interesting. I think this is something that makes the work you and the others around you very unique, is that most of the projects that I know are have a very tight time frame, and usually everything is done under quite some pressure, right? And it sounds to me also from the outside, but also now from what you give us as a view from the inside, one of the main focuses, and it makes sense, obviously, of the whole process is to be as accurate and precise and diligent as possible with everything, right?
That's right. I think, especially with Ethereum, the governance process, the process of inclusion, is very flexible. I mean, here we are including, trying to at least include everyone who is having any concern, any thought or suggestion related to any proposal. I can maybe cite a couple of examples here. Like, for example, there was this one big proposal, EIP 1559. It was a core proposal, and it was supposed to bring some changes to Ethereum mainnet on protocol level. But that, because it had some economic incentive associated with it, it also engaged different parties on that. It was not only the client developers who had to look and approve that proposal, but there were many different parties who came into picture in making a decision to include that proposal for a network upgrade. So when we bring this proposal for discussion, we keep it open on Fellowship of Ethereum Magician. That is a forum where anyone can go and write their feedback, their whether they like the proposal, whether they would expect some changes to the proposal, or they don't like at all. They leave their feedback over there. And then on technical side, if someone has any technical proposal to make improvement to that EIP, they can add their suggestions on form of a pull request on GitHub, right? And then there comes this forum, Ethereum Cathode, that's where we are trying to bring everyone together on one platform and then talk about this proposal. So yeah, it's a lot more of communication that is engaged here.
That's probably also why you framed it the Ethereum cat herder as well, because obviously there is a lot of people involved that need to be brought together. Does it mean that, so if I think about like a typical day, is your job mainly communicating between different parties, bringing them together in meetings, arranging timelines, making sure everyone is involved, documenting a lot? Are these things that are adequately describe your work?
Those are, yes, but it's not just about one thing that is going on. We do have to do couple of other things in terms of improvement of the existing process so we can make it better every other day. Ethereum
Mm,
cat herders basically collects news, the notes from client development meetings like all core dev meeting, consensus layer meeting. We document all these notes and we share it with community to follow if people cannot watch the YouTube or cannot participate over there. That's one thing.
mm,
Second thing is these researchers, when they are talking, they need a platform to talk and share their information. So we organize research specific calls. There is this KGZ ceremony call. KGZ, people may have heard about dank sharding, proto sharding. So that's a
yes.
research topic, yeah. So we help them, like we provide all the facilities around. Like they come to this meeting bi-weekly, talk about the progress because many different teams are working on it. So they talk about these progress, and then this information, this recording is shared on Ethereum cat herders. Then we come to like process improvement. Like people say that this EIP process is not good. My ERC is not going ahead. I don't know what to do, how to write, and how to make sure that my proposal is going to be accepted or becoming a standard. So we have this EIP AP meeting where we take people of EIP related people, author, EIP editor, reviewer, and any project that is trying to implement that proposal. Apart from core EIPs, obviously core EIPs goes for all core dev, but apart from core EIPs, if there are any different proposals, that can be discussed here. Then we try to educate people. We have a video series called Peep and Eep, in which we bring all the author on the call, ask them to provide the overview of the proposal so it is well received by application developer. And if application developer has a question, then we try to communicate it with to the author. Okay, fine. This is the question. Can you help them? Or if that proposal, if that question is actually not a question, but something that they would like to be changed in the proposal or want to be implemented differently, like all sort of communication we are trying to do. We are trying to put the community together, and wherever whatever help is needed to protocol development team, we try to provide that.
Right. That means the more I listen to it, it sounds to me like the the whole IP process, and of course also the research part, etc. All of these are governance, are mostly governance and consensus processes. Maybe the research one is a little bit of an outlier, but the primary part that you are looking at is not the development part, because that happens on client level, but rather the whole part of making sure every voice is heard, making sure that, like you said, a proposal properly follows the track that proposals need to go. You are the person, or Ethereum cat herders are the team that helps if my proposal is not progressing. These are, for me, governance and consensus um,
Yeah,
processes.
that is a fair depiction of our roles and responsibilities
Interesting.
here.
Mm,
So we do not engage ourselves into the active development because obviously those are
mm,
done at different client level. But whatever else is needed, for example, if there is any need of like for EIP reviewing, right? We need editors to review EIPs, and there was a point when we were having very less editors to review. Then we started this EIP editors apprenticeship program. We invited one of the experienced EIP editor to maybe review the proposal and in front of community. Like we used to arrange calls for that, and people who are interested in becoming EIP editor, they can like join us, learn things. And then similarly, we also have started office hour for authors. So if authors are having difficulties, they can reach us and ask questions. So we are trying to create a platform for all individuals, whoever is willing to join Ethereum community and they don't know where to go and what to do. So this is just a starting point we are trying to provide them.
Interesting. It's I'm trying to think if you're a project manager that manage a governance and proposal finding, consensus finding project, then you which tools are important for you? So do you use any project management tools like Kanban boards or anything like that? And how do you plan? Do you use Gantt charts? What are tools that are important for your work?
So for coordination purposes, we are not using much of a project management tool here. We are just using GitHub. We do try to use a project board to disseminate information and let people know where we are. Most of the specs related information are living in GitHub repository. And we generally try to make use of communication channels like Medium and other stuff. However, Ethereum Cat Herder also come up with some of its own project. Recently, we came up with a project called Learn to Earn. We are
Mhm.
about to launch it maybe in a week or so. It will be available for public. Right now, it is into trial phase. So we do that, and there also like because there was not a big team involved, we try to meet on a weekly basis and keep working. We use Morales and normal Notion for communication. But because most of our work is communication related, we may not be using that heavy tool. Those are used for general project management purposes.
And for communication, you using more like email and everything, or is more happening in Discord or any other tool?
So we have Medium presence where we share information. Other than that, we do have newsletter which goes to inbox for people who may have already subscribed. We use Discord, and Twitter is also a very important place
Mhm.
where we try to share information.
Understood. Interesting. Um, what was I also on? Right. Wondering on specifics of Web3. So when working in a DAO, for me always has brought a lot of changes to like traditional work. First and foremost, everything is virtual. I never, rarely, at least, meet people in person, and we are spread across like all time zones. Mm, We are not one company. There is no management. Salaries are being paid on logic levels that we need to find out ourselves. No HR, no finance, etc. Are these also things that resonate with you? I don't know how are you organized like from a are you a DAO or are you working for the Ethereum Foundation or how does that work?
I think Ethereum Cat Herders holds a very special place here. We are not a registered body. We are not even a DAO. We are just
Yeah.
a group of people. It's a working
Mm.
group of people. So we mostly try to keep everything transparent. So most of the communication and activities are on GitHub. Say, for example, budgeting, financing, if someone did some task, how much money should be provided to that. Everything happens on GitHub. We create an
Mhm.
issue, invite participation from people. For example, we had to build our website and we were looking for some people to maybe some people, group or individual, whoever is available to maybe work on that. So we just pasted an issue and said that this is our requirement, give us our proposal. Two or three proposals we received, and out of those three, we picked up one. Then work started to happen, and once that is done, then we have a process in place, obviously on GitHub, to make those payments so people get paid, and then issue is closed. Likewise, we do it because this is decentralized. Obviously, people are working on different time zone, but things are so transparent that it always have helped us.
Hmm. So you mentioned a few very interesting points for me. The first one is um, things are so transparent. This is something that I find this difficult, and I find also that it's difficult for the DAO as a whole to take enough time to document information and also make sure from a push perspective, whatever information I documented, it's being pushed to the people that should know it or being uh, exposed to the people who should know it instead of like you, from a pull perspective, you have to search for information. So it sounds to me that working in your environment, and I feel also this is something that in the DAO always can be improved, documentation is key, transparent documentation.
Absolutely. So when we started this group, it was fairly new. We just were a few people, few volunteers, and mostly like I and there was another one. We two sat down and we started documenting everything. Anything that comes new, people find it difficult. I put a process in place. Like if you have issues related to EIP, go ahead and register your issue on EIP GitHub. All these discussions were happening on public calls. These calls are recorded and shared on YouTube. And it's not me who is making a decision. I am just putting a proposal on table. Whoever is interested to make some decision or share their point of view, they join the meeting, leave the point they want to say, and then if that is a consensus from the group, we make it as a decision and document and put it on the GitHub. But nothing is permanent. Everything can be changed. For example, we do have EIP 1. EIP 1 explains the process, how people should propose a proposal, document things, and everything else. We keep changing EIP 1, if not every week, then definitely once a month. You will see a pull request making some changes to EIP 1 frequently. So the process is open. Process is right in front of people. If people find that this thing has to change, you have the power to change. You have to just create an issue. That issue will be discussed in certain meetings, and whatever decision will be there, someone else will be making a pull request to implement that decision in the EIP 1 or wherever it is needed.
Understood. Do you find it difficult to keep the documentation up to date? This is also something I have had phases in my professional career where I was very excited about documenting everything, but then I found like everything is outdated quickly if you don't make an even bigger effort to maintain. How much is that of a topic for you?
That is challenging as it could be anywhere, especially when it comes to volunteers. So we do have many volunteers. We have certain paid, bounty paid work as well. So depending on the priorities and depending upon the amount of fund budget do we have, we try to incentivize people, and obviously documentation gets on the bottom when it comes to priority. We want to get things done. We want actions to be done first. So documentation sometimes become out of order. It is not there, but we generally try to make a genuine effort to keep it up to date.
Cool. Um, yeah, I'm wondering, is there others who are interested in specific parts of who just work? Because I have been talking and asking a lot. Else, if you don't have questions, then I was one question that I forgot to ask. If you want to share that information. If you don't want, that's also fine. You mentioned being paid. Is the Ethereum Foundation paying you? Are you voluntarily doing this? How is Ethereum Cat Herders organized in that respect?
So obviously, I also started as a volunteer, like many other. We do
Sure.
volunteer, but we do get paid, and this money we are trying to get help with some grants. Like there is Gitcoin grant, there is other grants,
Mm,
smaller canals. So we try to reach out to them, uh, show them that what we are doing, and if we
mhm.
can get some grant for maybe 3 months, 6 months, something like that. That's how we
Well,
keep funding people here.
how many are you, Ethereum Cat Herders?
Um, it's a big group. Like we do have around 10 people for documenting
Oh,
notes,
wow.
and then there are more people on different division. Like we do produce a podcast, so there is someone who takes care of podcast. We do produce this video series, and then someone to take care of websites. So different people they charge by hours, like how much hour they are spending here.
Hmm.
Because we do not have a big budget, we cannot really afford
Of
people
course
having
not.
full time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting because now that you mentioned that you are so many, does it also mean that you need some form of organization, teams, leads, or something like that? Or is it just one cloud of people?
Um, if you go to our Discord, Ethereum Cat Herders Discord, we have tried to keep it like, as simple as possible. So we do have a group of contributors. So whoever has been doing and getting paid are listed there as contributors. We do have categories of EAP editors, so people know that the
Hmm.
EAP editor. About
Yeah,
the
I'm in
cat
there now.
herders, uh,
Yeah.
about the cat herders, I think initially when the group was formed, we tried to make use of DAO. There was Aragon DAO at the time, so we tried to form it in that way, but it didn't work well for us. So we left it aside. But whoever were there at that time, they are still listed as member, just for the sake of having admin power or maybe moderation power so we can maintain the channel, but there is no layer as such.
Right. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
just looking at the Ethereum Cat Herder Discord while you talked to have a quick look, and yeah, I can see how you are communicating, for example, in the Shanghai channel with the others on documenting the discussion. Yeah, that's really interesting. Cool.
yeah, we just try to maybe create channels specific to need and demand, like when we were having merge. So there were some discussion related to merge. People had questions. So we created this merge channel. So you come and ask your question over there. If you have in general technical question that you would looking for a little bit of help and support, so you can post it over there. So mostly it is for what community is asking for. And obviously, a little bit of team management is needed. So I take care of managing on a higher level. Like we do have a calendar who will be taking the notes for which meeting because there are multiple meetings. And if we don't manage that, it would be like
No, of course.
chaos kind of, yes. So on a
Yeah.
high level,
Yeah.
I do take care of that, but mostly we do not have any hierarchy.
I have a question, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yes.
How do you decide who, like, what acceptance criteria, or how do you decide who qualifies to participate in your group? Like, what
Um,
criteria is needed?
So generally speaking, there is no criteria. We try to keep it open for anyone. However, we do set a boundary of continuous contribution. For example, if someone is continuously contributing in process improvement, we have EIP, IP, and we are looking for people who can help us review the proposal so we can get the best as Ethereum standard. So if someone is looking into every proposal that is coming up on GitHub, leaving some useful and constructive feedback, We do keep a note of that, and when a person is interested to join the board as a reviewer or as an editor or something, they can definitely reach out to us. We discuss this on general meeting. For example, EIP editor, if I take, what we do is like we keep track of his GitHub commitment on that particular repository. If those are all good, we propose the name to be added as EIP editor. If he or she is accepted, they have to again do some changes in the process. So update some file, making some pull requests here and there, and yes, you can be a part of that. So the one important criteria is your continuous contribution.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. I'm gonna ask the group if there are more questions. I'm good. I've had the chance to place all my questions. And Pooja, of course, if you are interested in anything, if you wanna hear something, we haven't given you many details so far, but if there is something on your mind, of course, you're also free to ask. But first of all, again, the question to the group. Any other questions to Pooja?
Well,
I guess
from
my last
my
question. Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
please
go ahead.
No,
No,
that's
I'm
all.
sorry. So I guess just kind of a follow-up question to my original question is manually keeping track of everybody and their contributions, how you look to be doing it in the future, or are you exploring alternatives?
Actually, when we look into the commit history of GitHub, that helps. But in general, your participation could be easily noticed because all these meetings are recorded and they are available on Ethereum Cat Herder's YouTube. So generally speaking, it gives us a very good idea of like what are your intention if you are good or bad. And I want to share one additional information here, which I think will make sense. We have seen people coming and joining right from their college time. They just come and join us as a contributor to document notes. Obviously, we do have a bounty, which is a good incentive for just looking at the Web3 world from a distance and being able to contribute. And then when people get on board here, they get hooked up because they learn about so many other things. And suppose you are coming up from a development background and you continue contributing. We have seen those guys being accepted by client development team. They have worked for different clients. So what we are trying to do here is help them build a reputation by contribution, like volunteer contribution or bounty based contribution. And when your contribution is being recognized because people see what you do, this is internet world. Everything is open source, people can see. And if you are recognized, you have good opportunities here.
Okay, thank you for that answer. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Pooja, you were also having a question.
Yeah, I would be a little curious about this Bankless DAO. I understand this is a group of project managers here. So, what is the main role here? Like, we are trying to just share information, or is there any kind of project building also going in parallel for Web3?
Yeah, great question. And actually, it's not so easy to answer that. I'm gonna try and start, and please, everyone, help me enrich my answers. So, because Bankless DAO's mission is to onboard the next billion people into crypto, there is quite a lot of projects through education. There is quite a lot of projects that fit into this mission. This means that Bankless DAO as a whole consists of projects that do anything from building tools to building education software, building. We are currently working on a Bankless branded or DAO branded credit card that has a payback mechanism through tokens. So you have an affinity card to your DAO. So there are a lot of different projects that also, of course, have different products that are being built in those projects. Some of them build software, some of them build just educational material. We have even projects that just spread the word of Bankless and crypto on conferences, etc. So this means that the task of project managers in projects of Bankless DAO can be super diverse. And it can be, like I tried to find out in the beginning of our conversation, it can be a development project, and hence also you need a more dev savvy project manager. But it can also be just plain organization of teamwork, because obviously I think also something that you mentioned in another context, with many people coming from different places being voluntary, it is really important to have a firm and good coordination mechanism. And I think this is something that Ethereum Cat Herders does great for your area of say product that you deliver, namely proposals and updates to protocol core, etc. Of Ethereum. And for us, it's just different products, but I think there is a lot of similarities to our project management work to yours.
Yeah, I can see that. Maybe the difference that I can make out of it is like cat herders are supporting the protocol layer and Bankless DAO is supporting the application layer. Any app related to Web3 may be supported by the script. Thank you. That's a good interesting.
Yeah. And I guess what we are doing more than you're mentioning is some of the projects require more strict project management tools, like starting with tools like Asana that we use for Kanban boards or just task allocation. They make it a little bit easier for us to work on in tighter time frames and tighter iterations. And I guess this is just a difference why GitHub for You is a tool that works very well, because you seem to be, and please correct me if this is a wrong impression, you seem to not work in like super tight iterations where you are trying to even push out products on a at least quarterly basis, if not faster, but rather usually Ethereum proposals will take many months, if not years, before they are being implemented.
Yeah, right. I mean, we do have some time-bound deliverables. Like, for example, we do publish the PEEP videos, the podcast that goes out. So these things are time-bound, but that does not require the whole set of team. So this can be done on DM basis, right? We do try to put things out on GitHub project board when it is for a broader community. And yes, definitely timelines are there, but most of the communication goes on with the help of Discord channels. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. Same for us, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering to others, is there anything I haven't said that could be of interest for Pooja when it comes to project management in Bankless DAO, now that you've heard how her work is? And do you think there is something that's completely different on our end, or anything that might be interesting for Pooja? One thing that I take away from this discussion is, funny enough, Pooja, we have been discussing in Bankless DAO a lot about governance in the last months, and actually derived from EIPs. We have defined that our whole governance process now is documented in kind of a canonical Bankless DAO governance handbook, where, I mean, it's not like a literal book, but I think it's just one place. And we've defined that there will be Bankless DAO improvement proposals that needed to change our governance. And what I find interesting listening to you is appreciating that maybe implementing a change in a fundamental part, like a governance handbook on our end, or on your end, of course, the Ethereum blockchain, it makes sense that maybe it needs someone to administer and project management this whole improvement process, so it is A, properly documented, B, properly communicated, and of course your community that's interested in whatever change is happening to Ethereum is much larger than Bankless DAO, but still Bankless DAO is a few thousand people, so still there is a analogy here to maybe we will need project management to change our governance. I'm saying this to like the whole group because I can see that now, even that we have this Bankless DAO handbook, many of us probably have good ideas how we could and should change our DAO. But changing that is a lot more complex, and maybe we as a team can help facilitating those changes. So handing in a proposal is not that daunting. I think we don't have seen any proposals yet, and maybe one of the reasons is because this is something that needs help from project managers. So yeah, that was a good inspiration, Pooja.
Thank you. I mean, in general, if any project, I don't know, we do have many project managers here and maybe some lead project developer as well. So if in general, any project needs help in implementation, or maybe just trying to figure out if this thing has any kind of standard that they can just take and implement it in their project related to Ethereum, of course, feel free to get in touch with Ethereum Cat Herders. You can just drop by our Cat Herders Discord and drop your question there. We do have client developers, we do have EAP editors, authors, researchers, so many people to help out build your own project.
Cool. Yeah, thank you for that offer. And of course, the same goes for you. If you or anyone around you has any interest in how a DAO overcomes challenges, I believe Bankless DAO, with the size and the history, has seen a lot of the challenges of DAOs, and some of them we even overcame. Some of them we are still working on. I'm looking at the clock. It's 8 minutes until the hour. Just opening the round again for more comments, questions.
I'm going to drop the link, Pooja, if it's okay, for Ethereum Cat Herders in the chat channel here. If that's okay with you, just for everyone's resource.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And then is your GitHub, the repo is attached to the address of the store?
Of course, I'm gonna drop the link to the Ethereum Cat Herders GitHub here.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Not a question, but a comment. What I listened was like a DAO, but on GitHub.
Kind of, yes. Yeah, I mean, I have interacted with a few Bankless DAO people. They are contributors at Ethereum Cat Herders, and I'm also getting this inspiration of converting it into a fully fledged DAO, but we haven't decided it yet on that side. So for the time being, yes, on GitHub we are a DAO. Okay, I'm trying to find out the link for our Discord as well. If anyone is interested, may join here to collect some information related to Ethereum or in general, like network upgrade, EIPs, or anything related to that. They can join and ask questions here.
Cool. You know where to post it, right? In the PM channel. That's right above the voice channel that you're now in.
Okay, I have been putting it in PM voice channel. Is that not the right place?
Perfect. It's perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna just take it from there and also repost it into PM General. Cool. And last call for questions.
I have also shared the link to Ethereum Cat Herder's website where people can get information about what's going on in Ethereum. So
Cool.
generally link to everything can be found here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time. Pooja, this was very, very interesting. I hope it was also interesting for you to talk to us. And yeah, I hope we will be in touch at some point in the future.
Likewise. Thank you so much for the invite. Lovely being here. Yeah. Have a good one.
You as well. Thanks. Guys, I'm suggesting that we do not open more items. I guess this will be too short, so we will push everything that's in the meeting agenda for today that's untouched to next week. But Mikhail, any points, or was that just
no? I came off mute too fast.
Yeah, and other than that, please just, if you can, have a quick look at the meeting agenda. There are a few items in there that are super interesting and I believe also need your participation and discussion, especially for the threads that I've posted in the channel on encouraging more education. I have the feeling that this is one of the biggest pain points of the guild, and the more you support what's in these threads by saying, hey, this is a great idea, please do it like this, or saying, please do it not like this, you help shape the guild. Else, G-Cal, Sprinkles, and me, we will just do it and then hope for the best. Cool.
Renee, thanks for setting that up today. Really appreciate it. It's nice to hear some different perspectives. And I just had one question, guild wise. I being kind of new to the seasons and this hearing that the forum proposal was due on the 14th. Is there anything you need from me or from us to pull that together?
Yeah, thanks for asking that, and maybe then just a few words to the season transition process, because that is quickly explained and maybe interesting to everyone. From this season on, so from season 6 on, we are being budgeted on guild auto funding, if you will, which means that in contrast to all seasons previously, where we need to put together a justification of our budget, the proposal now will just have to encompass a calculation of our current active guild members. And this is already what I asked Jay Fanny, who already did the active guild member calculation a month ago, just to refresh that. And then from that, in principle, the budget is set because we get 4 roles at this and that bank times the plus 10,000 times active guild members, pretty much a copy of our previous PM proposal of season 5, which was the inspiration, I guess, for the whole process. So in that sense, there is not much that's needed, with one exception, and actually this one everyone can help. because what we also are asked for in the proposal is we should mention what we created in this season. So what are the things that we did? Just give a little bit of an information to whoever is interested what PM Guild produced. And inspired by your question, GCal, I propose to just quickly set up another thread, and whoever wants to drop a success, a work product, or anything that you feel was great this season, drop it in there. And then these can be just, I can just put that together into a post and proposal, and that's that.
Great. Thanks, Renee. Yeah, happy
Yeah,
to
sure.
help.
Yeah, awesome. And then just two more bits on the season transition process. You may or may not know that 31st of October is the start of the gap week. So 31st of October to the rest of the week. No meetings, no expectation on any posts in the channel, la 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 la. Before the week before, I will set up the coordinate round for active guild members based on the recalculation that hopefully Jay Fanny will be able to do, and we will see a role holder election process in the week thereafter, which is the week, I think, following the 7th of November. These are the main things that we need to do to transition well into the season: proposal, coordinate, and election.
Renee, I know we're at time, but do we have any shot of running a retro on the season, getting that scheduled?
That's a great idea. We will have to do that because we are PM Guild. If we don't do a retro, then who else?
We better quit.
Exactly. So then let's just use the last weekly of the season for retro. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
Brilliant.
That sounds
Thanks for the impulse.
Real quick, I just linked in the notes on this channel here the two Discord channel links and the meeting note links. The meeting note link
Awesome.
for reference.
Brilliant. Cool. Then thank you everyone for joining this session, and I hope we see more of these. If you know anyone from other DAOs or anyone else who we would like to interview or talk to, bring them forward, invite them here, and we will do more of these sessions. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a fantastic weekend.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Just
Have a good week, everyone.
Thank you.